It's really hard to do something truly novel on YouTube. Everything has been done in one form or another. But I think I may have something here. That is, until someone in the comments finds it and crushes my dreams. Also, I'll need your help in deciding what the heck I'm gonna do with this thing. Okay, so you've seen chaotic in-grain cutting boards. Sure. You've also seen pattern plywood. Well then, how's about chaotic pattern plywood? I'll give it a go, and you tell me if it rings any bells. I'll process down a piece of my Baltic birch into a 28 by 28 square. Take a note of that dimension because the finished product will be significantly smaller. Now I'm going to cut it into strips so I can turn this panel into end grain, in quotes. The thickness of these strips will also mark the thickness of the final product. Then I'll glue those together. Nothing earth-shattering yet. Pretty solid glue squeeze out tells me I'm doing things right so far. This is what you're left with after the first glue up. I think this looks neat already. Could stop here, but that's too orderly. I'm going for chaos. I'll use the miter gauge to make the first of the next set of cuts. This can be any angle you wish. Remember, chaos. After the first angle is established with the miter gauge, I can run that along the fence to hammer out the rest. After each strip is cut, I'll move them over to the side and keep them in order. Then I'll flip every other piece to start forming. Hey, I said every other piece. There you go. Start forming that stage's pattern. Not chaos yet, just taking one step outside the single file line. Same procedure as before with the glue up on this stage. I want to more effectively kickstart the chaos on the upcoming stages, so I'm going to break down that panel into quadrants and then rotate the opposing sides by 90 degrees. Okay, starting to stick it to the man now. This was an awkward glue up as I had to clamp in perpendicular directions at the same time. Would have been easier to do this in two parts and then put them together, but in the spirit of this piece, I'm not going to follow conventional sheepish woodworking procedures. I'll do another set of scrape, sand, slice, this time on a bit stronger of an angle. Okay, the rebellion is starting to take form, but still tame, like maybe staying out past curfew or smashing pumpkins. We need more. How can I spice up this glue up footage? Disco glue up? Alright, enough of that nonsense. In this round, I'll cut off the wavy edge and then vary the width of my slices, trying to bisect the larger unbroken chunks. Okay, how about trick shot glue up? When I put these pieces together, I'm going to shift them left or right to make the seams from the previous glue up as far apart as possible. Oh, we're bordering on reckless now. Last round is going to be at an angle, and I'm going to vary the thicknesses by moving the fence around. And instead of flipping every other piece, I'm going to move them around into other slots to really confuse the pattern. Now I think we're at full January 6th level of chaos, so let's do our final glue up, ghost style. While that's drying, I'll make a way to sand this thing with some spray adhesive on a scrap piece of plywood and some 60 grit sandpaper sheets. And I'll roll those out to ensure they're on there good. And it's just labor. I struggled at first figuring out how to hold it. Ow! But got the hang of it after a while. Once one side was flat, I'll use that flattened side against the sled as a perpendicular reference to trim it to its final size. I'll do this before flattening both sides because that bit of material removed means less sanding on the second side. Progress was interrupted momentarily to alter some Halloween buckets, and I was back at it. Last thing before finish is to sand them smooth. I usually don't go higher than 220 on anything, but I have 320 discs, so I took it all the way up through the grits that I have. Per the method used by Michael Alm, who you could say is the godfather of patterned plywood, I'm using a few coats of water-based satin poly as the finish. And here's the result. Smooth, silky, chaos. Now I need your help in figuring out what to do with this thing. It's 15 by 14 and about 11/16 thick, so there is potential for resaw. Let me know your suggestions down in the comments and I'll pick one for part 2. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.